The unboxings have happened, the Zelda previews have hit, but the president of the Pokemon Company wants to get in on the Switch action too. What's up, everybody? It's Zach from Switch Force. I've got Jake alongside me, and we had an interesting interview come out today in the midst of all the Zelda Breath of the Wild news, all the new previews, all the new footage, all the Switch excitement. Mr. Tsunekazu Ishihara gave some good details and information on the future of Pokemon and how it will be brought to Switch. And I thought some of his references and some of his discussion was quite interesting.
Yeah, I mean, we can get into it, but I think it's an interesting take that it makes me more excited for Pokemon because I was just thinking Pokemon was just going to get ported over and be the same old, but it looks like there might be some hope for some changes on the Switch.
Yeah, and we've heard the rumor for quite a while now of Pokemon Stars, which would sort of be the culmination, the ultimate version of Sun and Moon. He doesn't speak anything on that specifically, but he does say that if Pokemon is to come to Switch, they may have to change a little bit of the nature, or a little bit of Pokemon due to the nature of the Switch. And he mentioned how, Pokemon was traditionally made for a portable device where you could battle and trade with your friends outside rather than on a home console. But with Switch being a home handheld hybrid, it's a little bit of a different thought process. And he referenced Pokken Tournament and Pokemon Mystery Dungeon as games that would be more suitable to the Switch. Or maybe kind of giving us some hints on where they're thinking of going with Pokemon in the future.
Yeah, and that's the part that gets me excited because those two games, Pokken and Mystery Dungeon, are games where you're directly taking control of Pokemon and are more action-oriented as opposed to just selecting attacks and watching the Pokemon do things. So whether they combine the two into like an RPG hybrid where you, can have more control over the Pokemon themselves and it's more action-based, or they do the Pokemon Stars thing as just like a typical Pokemon game, but then also have some more action-oriented game. It'll be interesting to see, but again, this gives me a little bit more hope that it's not just going to be they're just transferring over the same type of Pokemon games to the Nintendo Switch, because for me, that's not a huge interest of mine, but now this gives me a little bit more intrigue.
I still believe and would bank on them bringing a Pokemon Stars type game, whatever it ends up being called, to Switch. That's a huge seller, a huge money earner, and a huge sort of fan favorite that would bring a lot of hype and goodwill to the Switch, especially early in its life cycle. But I do agree it would be cool to see some modifications, and the fact that they are aware they need to make some changes, and that it is going to, they want to do something that's going to better suit the Switch, has me wondering if maybe, the expectations of the home console are a little bit higher than a handheld, so maybe they will be incorporating more dynamism, more of like you said, an action style, or a crossbreeding, if you will, of genres in order to kind of evolve the format, which I think is super cool. I don't think that they're going to go away entirely from the RPG style and from the roots of what it's been, since the Red and Blue days. But it would be interesting to see them kind of find ways to make it fit Switch better. And, when he talks about the home console difference, he also mentions that it is a bigger screen and has stronger tech specs. So I think that hints at a graphics upgrade, and that's something that we knew and have heard in the Stars rumors, that this would be HDified to some level. I'm curious. They have nothing to announce at the time, but I'm curious where they go and how Pokemon fans will react to any sort of change they make. Look, this could just be changes like, hey, we're going to have HD graphics and we're going to have cutscenes or something of that sort. But if we take it a little bit deeper and they do make system changes or they do make gameplay style changes, it'll be interesting to see after, over a decade of tried and true Pokemon, how do people react to that mainline game scene modification?
Sure, and I definitely think, at least to start off with, they'll just do Pokemon Stars. It's almost the same as they've been doing on all of the handhelds. But maybe they introduce a new type of series like Mystery Dungeon or something that is more action-based. And I'm also curious if they bring in like Pokemon Go tech into it at all. I know, like, not GPS per se where you're throwing Pokeballs on your Switch screen, but just, in the vein of how it's a home console that you can take out, if there is, like, an action game where you are Pokemon and there's like a trading element, or based on where you ping in from with Wi-Fi on your Switch, like you can get different Pokemon, or just how they utilize that, because I think it's very interesting that it is, you know, a home console you can take out and go, and they have tested out, you know, Pokemon in like real world setting, kind of, and getting you out to be like the trainer yourself. So I wonder if they will bring any of that ideology to a new game or to the Pokemon game as it already exists, or like a new, more Pokemon fighting based game.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a Pokken Tournament, you know, Ultimate Edition or something like that eventually hit Switch. I think that would be a very natural fit. I'd be curious to see what the president thinks of Pokemon Go, and sort of what his, you know, impression of that is, given that it's not made entirely in-house. But yeah, so that's sort of the gist of the interview. We'll link to the full thing if you want to translate all of it, or if you happen to read Japanese. They just gleaned the specifics in reference to Switch. But yeah, let us know your hopes, your thoughts on Pokemon for Nintendo's next console. And it is so dang close, so before you know it, you'll be able to play it and maybe come up with even more ideas on your own. Until that time, everyone, thanks so much for watching. Hope you guys are having a great day. Make sure to subscribe for the latest and greatest on Nintendo Switch. And until next time, Switch Force out.